It's been almost exactly 3 years to the day that we've owned our two Teslas. One's a Model 3, one's a Model X. And I want to share some information around battery degradation. That seems to be probably the question that people ask the most, or quite often, frankly, about owning an electric vehicle is how much range do I lose? How much degradation is there? And I've owned the vehicles, like I said, for 3 years. I've only been tracking the data for two, but you can see here that there's some patterns here you can notice. And the top line here, the blue line is the Model X, um, and it had a stated mine's I think or I don't think they sell it anymore. It's a rear wheel drive long range. I don't think they sell that type anymore, but at 310 miles of range. And so the reason why I think it went over 100% is I think there was a software update sometime where it pushed it to like 315 or something like that. But anyway, it's only recently kind of dropped down to about 98, 99%. So it's not really that much over a 3 year period. So, but up until then, it's always been 100% or above, essentially at 310 miles or above. And the Model X, obviously started, we had a range of 295. That was the 100D version back in the day, which again they don't sell that exact type anymore, although it's probably rebranded as long range. And started, at 100%, 295, and over time it's gradually degraded quite a bit more, but still pretty good. It's at the 30-day average about 93%. So it's lost about that's roughly about 20 miles off of the total. So you get at max range you theoretically about 275, and then the Model 3 you get about 306 or something like that. So that's roughly what it's been like for the past 3 years. I don't know if the Model 3 is going to change much because it seems like it's the rate of change is a little bit faster recently. Um, and the Model X looks like it's kind of stabilized, if you will. It's been pretty consistent for the past 6 months or so. And the other thing I'll point out is that there are also different batteries, right? For the Model X, it was built off of the original. I think it's called the 18650. That designation, I think the 18 is millimeters in diameter, and 65 is millimeters in length. And then the Tesla Model 3 and the Power Walls, I believe at least the later the generation I had are built off of 2170. So they're not terribly different, but they are a little bit thicker, 21 millimeters in diameter and a little bit longer, 70 millimeters in length. And obviously the really the breakthrough one that they've made recently, I think last year, and they're going to put into some of the newer vehicles is the 4680, which has amazing stats. So I think that's partially one reason why you're seeing this difference, between all the between the Model 3 and the Model X. Although I will say that we do drive them differently. So the Model X early on, we did a lot more supercharging. Not crazy, like maybe you know every road trip or so. We once a year we take it a road trip, so we charge supercharge it 6 times or so on a road trip, round trip. But I don't think that's very much at all, judging by what some people do. So and they're fairly well maintained in terms of we didn't overly charge them or discharge them. They were always kept between 50 and 70. The Model X maybe a little bit more variation, maybe between 30 and 80 or so, so a little bit wider of a cycle between those two endpoints versus the Model 3. So I don't think really the charging habits really affected. I don't have scientific proof, but I ultimately believe it really is boils down to the type of batteries they have. So nothing nothing terribly conclusive there, but I do want to share with you at least the data that I was able to extract over a 3 year period. I think that's a decent amount of time to look at it. You can see that the degradation is not that bad. A little bit more, certainly a little bit more than on the Model X, but still, quite decent. And if you're wondering how you figure it out, in the same data that you pull out of the car, has a whole bunch of stats. You essentially take whatever range it says, at the moment, and then you divide by the percentage it thinks it is, right? So the battery management system says, oh, whatever, it thinks it's 245 is the range and it thinks it's an 80% charge. And you divide 245 by zero point 0.8, and that's what gets you, I think, the estimated 100% range. So that's how I figure out, this top end, what the total capacity is over time. There actually isn't one stored in the data, but I think you can do that calculation and get that figure. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave a comment. If you found this helpful, feel free to like and subscribe. And like I said, let me know if you have questions. Be happy to try to answer them. Thanks.